A very warm welcome to all for joining us at this very interesting fireside chat on building hospitals of tomorrow, cost, risk, and rewards. As we examine current healthcare requirements, hospitals are facing a growing need to be more fit for the future. The cost of care is rising, populations are growing, patients are in greater needs for specialist care, and care systems are increasingly burdened with increasing patient loads and infrastructure shortfall. With all of this in mind, how can we begin to build modern hospitals that meet the challenges of the 21st century? We have Mr. Vineet Purushothaman, Group CIO STDM Healthcare, who would be sharing his vision of how best we can develop the hospitals of tomorrow and provide better levels of care with higher efficiency, moving towards the overall goal of improving the patient experience. He will also give us an understanding on how technology will be able to make hospitals future ready. Hello and a warm welcome to you, Vineet.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Kalpana.
Vineet, you have a major chunk of experience across retail sector before you got into healthcare. So what are the unique changes you see in technology approach in healthcare as compared to retail?
Yeah, that's a very interesting question because having spent 16 years approximately in retail, when I came to healthcare, it is very obvious that the technology adoption and technology usage is is a lot to do. Uh, I initially started off saying that yes, the technology compared to retail looked like Stone Age when I came to healthcare. So yes, there is a big difference in the way technology has matured and is being used. Uh, is being used and was being used in retail to what uh, is being used or what is the current state in healthcare, right? And it is I guess it is driven by how healthcare has grown in the country and how retail has grown in the country. Retail has grown organically as well as inorganically with a lot of foreign direct investments coming in, with a lot of players coming in and investing, and so because of which perhaps the technology investments have happened much early. And I've worked in retail across various big players, and most of them had invested a lot upfront in technology. Okay, and I must say it's not that healthcare don't invest in technology. Healthcare has got two kinds of technology usage. One is the whole biomedical technology, and the other is the administrative technology. So what when we talk about typically when we talk about technology, you're talking about the administrative technology, right? But here, what in healthcare, there's a lot of investment that's going into the biomedical technology, which is about the about what we typically know as CT scans, MRIs, robotics. So that itself is a huge investment. My own reading is that after having spent so much on those must-have technology elements, healthcare providers had very little to spend on the other aspects of administrative technology. But now the times have changed. There's a large investment that's happening in uh, deployment of technology across the hospital.
So hospitals and healthcare practitioners have been at the forefront in the fight against the COVID-19 pandemic. What, according to you, are the unique challenges hospitals face in comparison to any other business during the pandemic?
It's like unlike any other business, healthcare was right in the middle of it. We were the front line, right, as we were called. No businesses want to shut down. No businesses want to get into a lockdown. But we had no choice because we were the ones who were there to. It was our responsibility to be available for our patients, to cure them, to prevent whether it is now vaccinations. So we have, as hospital providers and healthcare providers, we had a huge role to play. So I guess it is there is nothing that we can compare with any other industry. The way healthcare providers and healthcare as an industry was impacted because of the pandemic. Our employees, whether frontline workers or whether it is a back-end operators, so meaning the HR folks or the supply chain, whether it is the technology that my team represents, everybody had a role to play. It was not that just that the nurses and the doctors played a role. Obviously, nurses and doctors had a tougher job. They were spending more time in the hospitals. because they could not go back home, because when they go back home, everybody else in the home was also getting exposed. So there were a lot of challenges which the healthcare providers and healthcare practitioners went through. We as what we call as support functions and back-end operators also were very much available to support our front line, to see whatever we can do to make their job a little bit easier. Technology did play a role. So I believe, yeah, to answer your question, yes, it was a very unique. We were right in the middle of it, uh, right in the eye of the storm, if you want to say that, and we're really we were actually going through that entire period, going through the process of either fixing the problem, and another, mind you, the whole pandemic situation, we all were learning. I mean, even the healthcare people were learning as to how to deal with things, because there were variants. There are, even now there are multiple variants. But over a period, we become across the world, healthcare practitioners and healthcare providers have become very good at dealing with the situation. We are much better prepared in a wave two than in a wave one.
Yeah, but like India is among the countries with the lowest number of beds per thousand people, and the pandemic has only highlighted the gaps we have in the healthcare delivery. So, how do you think private hospitals are helping address these gaps?
Yeah, I always feel it is not fair to compare India with any other part of the world, because we ourselves, with the population, with the geographical spread, we ourselves are a world in its own. So it is not fair. It is not just about any political inclination or about who is driving, which ministry is responsible, which state or center. It's not about that. It's a very different ball game. Whether it is about the way India managed the pandemic, whether it is the way India is now doing vaccination, it's a very different ball game. That would be my first opening remark. Now, moving on to the other aspect, we then have another challenge of the rural and the urban population. We have a challenge of a landmass that is much large. We have a challenge of the weather, everything changing from the north to the south. So we have to keep all that in mind when we look at any business, for that matter. Yeah, healthcare obviously, and when a pandemic situation, all the more. So my take on that is, yes, there has been a lot of correction in the kind of investment that is going into healthcare, and that is great news. We always had single digit or lower single digit number in terms of the percentage investment in compared to a GDP that happened in healthcare when you compare to any other part of the world. And I don't have to go through that because that's much talked about numbers. But the fact is, yes, there is a big push. There is a lot of awareness, and there is investment happening. So one is, to what extent can the government and the establishment invest in healthcare? That's one. But as citizens and as other as people, as Indian citizens, we also have our responsibilities, whether it is private players, whether it is the clinics, whether it is the individual healthcare practitioners, or citizens like you and me. So we all of us have equal responsibility, and that has happened this time. Now that has happened a great deal, and at the end of it, Kalpana, it's again, you cannot just, it's good to, like here, I'm right now based out of Dubai, and the establishment here and the ruler here, he very clearly called out, almost put an ambitious goal of saying a doctor for every citizen. Right now, we could have some kind of a similar thing, but with the ratio saying a doctor for every 100 people, 100%. Even that would have been difficult when you're talking about. So it's a different thing as to how do you build the right ratios, how do you get, how many doctors do you need. So therefore, what the point that I'm trying to make is, it's not about just building hospitals and clinics. It is also about whether we have the doctors to man and the people to man those clinics and beds. Which is why there is again a great deal that's happening now, courtesy the pandemic and the role that the pandemic played as an accelerator. Technology is able to help in many of those areas. I'm sure things will change.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and then that context, like the ongoing pandemic is also impacting the traditional care models. So what
Yeah.
are the changes in healthcare models and practices you're observing?
So yeah, if I had an opportunity to show you certain pictures, I'm sure most of us have seen old movies. At least I have little more gray hair than you. So we people of our age and people the movies that we would have seen a doctor come into the home with a bag, right? Doctor Saab aa gaye, and then somebody is coming with the bag and he's opening up the bag and he's attending to the patient. We would have seen that. We're not experienced it, but have seen it in movies. But then over a period, the doctor visiting the home have gone away. Uh, I guess even if now a doctor comes, he will not be coming with the bag. He will be coming with an iPad or a phone, right? And that's the big shift. And tomorrow a doctor may not even come to your home. Your phone, which is not tomorrow, as of today, we still have that. Your phone is good enough. Your phone itself uh, is good enough to connect to the best doctors in the world. All that you do is a dial, book an appointment with the doctor at Aster, and you get a virtual consult done. And as of now, with restrictions and regulatory restrictions, you have to see a doctor within India. I'm sure times will change when you could be seen by a doctor somewhere sitting in some part of the world. It shouldn't stop you from getting the best clinical advice or clinical attention. So yeah, so that's how the world is changing, and according to me, that's how the world is changing for better in as far as healthcare is concerned, as far as health tech is concerned.
Yeah, so that is all about teleconsultations and telemedicines and all. So what about digitalizing the hospitals? What kind of developments are happening, say, when it comes to OPDs or connecting the different departments? So if you can throw some light on that, how pandemic has actually pushed that. Or I would say it was much more painful earlier, and this pandemic is somewhere a blessing in the disguise. So I mean, what is happening on the admin and operational front at the hospitals?
A lot is happening in that front as well. So it all starts off with the fact that I guess it was some of these things had started changing even before the pandemic. I keep saying that healthcare is going through a phase as of now what perhaps banking went through a decade ago, right? I don't know. You would not have gone to a bank for the last 60 days or more. Now, so therefore, and there is no need. You don't find any need to go to the bank. Well, similarly for a hotel or many of those other service industries. So, and if you healthcare as well is going through was going through that kind of a change of digitization of services. Uh, only that the pandemic definitely accelerated it because some of the solutions that were already there, like a teleconsult as a solution, was always there, but the patients or the customers were not very keen on using it. The doctors were not very keen on using it for various reasons, because either they did not see the what's in it for me there, or they had their own apprehensions about the tool, the technology, and at the end of it, when it comes to healthcare, you're dealing with life. So there are a lot of reasons why I won't. It's not anybody's mistake or anybody's any one person or one group to be pointed finger at. So so when the what's in it for me is very clear, when a consumer is driving certain usage, right, things will flow. That's what's happening. So now here the customer is driving the change, and which is why this change is going to gather momentum and definitely going to really go into very good pace. So, so the point that I was again making is some of the changes started much early. For instance, we at Aster had put a platform on the cloud sometime in 2019 itself, where we had created something called as One Aster as a single platform, as single patient engagement platform, which could be used by customers to book appointment, to see their records, and we had rolled it out across the Kerala cluster that we had. Now that would mean that somebody would be able to go and take the appointments, finish the payment, because India we still have a cash as a payment or a credit card or whatever you can use to make the payment. for OP consults and OPD treatments, there is no insurance. So, and if there is an insurance, you'll have to, there would be provision to enter the insurance details and get the payment processed. So once you finish your appointments and your payment has been processed, then if you're coming into the hospital for to meet your doctor, you're only coming to the hospital to meet your doctor. You're not coming to the hospital having to spend 15 minutes or 20 minutes in the reception, right? And then go with one paper to another counter to the third counter and so on. You're just coming in. If your appointment is at 10 a.m., you're going straight at 10 a.m. into the hospital, entering, marking your arrival, seeing your doctor and moving, because the payment has been done, your appointment has been done, everything has been done. So that's the first leg of digitization that most, Aster did that in 2019. All of our hospitals in Kerala has it, and right now we are in a process of expanding that to teleconsults and everything else into a single platform. We have a teleconsult similarly working. We could book your teleconsult and you can have your teleconsult done from any of our doctors. All of this would be combined into one single platform. So that's about how you ensure that digitization is going to improve the patient experience by not just having complete transparency of your slots, of your doctors, of your prices, right? It's also about improving that patient experience by that they now don't have to stand in line. There may still be, I must say that I have to submit that, yeah, there may still be that your appointment is at 10 and the previous patient took a little longer, because there's not a place where a patient will be asked to leave immediately by a doctor there. There's a possibility because of that you have to wait 5-10 minutes more, but you are definitely entering that hospital only for the purpose that you came for hospital and not wasting any of your time there. Apart from that, there's been multiple investments in technology, whether it is to make your supply chain efficient, whether it's to make the entire process within the hospital, whether it is your stay when it's an inpatient going on to complete your whichever procedure or operation that you had come in for, or your treatment you're coming for, the entire thing being made available as the patient record digitally to you. So there is a lot of that work happening. That again is work in progress, I must say. In healthcare, the most critical system, this is for people who are not much aware of healthcare, is there is a system called the hospital information system, which is a system that in a typical way it's a combination of a point of sale system and a hotel management system, which manages bed and everything and food. But also the most biggest important component of that system is what is called as electronic medical record or electronic health record. Now that is that module in the system that captures your entire history. So we are right now in the process of completely having our electronic medical records fully digitized. At least majority of our hospitals have that fully digitized. We just trying to finish all our 13 units across India to be fully digitized. So yeah, so I guess I answered your question saying that yes, across the hospital operations, there is a large drive of digitizing and automating the processes, so that the patient's flow within that hospital is completely digitized, and that, according to me, builds a lot of trust and transparency, and of ensuring that you don't carry that bundle of files and papers in your bag when you move from one place to the other. Most of the things, majority of the things, obviously, are still going to be on your mobile and digitized.
Yeah, absolutely. So that is how you enhance the patient experience at the hospital. Okay, so what are your suggestions to make the hospitals resilient and future ready to take on any pandemic?
So I don't think anybody has an. So I'm not a doctor. I'm not a clinical advisor, somebody to address the pandemic as a whole. But as from the, I guess, as healthcare providers and then from my own role of playing the technology practitioner, technology leader, I guess there are 2 or 3 areas in which technology is playing a very key role in making, if I can use the word, making the society more healthier and people more healthier and safer. The first aspect is everything about pre-hospital, right? So It's about preventive care. It's about everything that you do to enhance your health, your hygiene, so that you don't have to get into the hospital in the first place. So that there's a lot of work happening there, and that includes, uh, like I said, the mobile phones and everything that has got the mobile apps and the wearables and everything that now is available, interconnected, so that you are taking care of yourself well. And if you are able to if you're able to really use and good use of those technologies, you will be in a much better place when it comes to your own health. But then, yes, it needs a lot of awareness. It needs a lot of conviction from you as an individual. Nobody can help you there. You yourself have to help yourself there. That's one aspect. God forbid, if you still go through something, if you enter a hospital, yes, obviously the healthcare in healthcare, again a lot of systems, technologies put in place, which will definitely make you are ill. I'm sure you're not going to be always extremely happy when you're ill, but as far as possible, the stay within the hospital could be made less of a trouble by using technology and ensuring that, like I said, the trust, the transparency, and the ease of moving across through the hospital stay. The third part is post-hospital care. That's where again technology plays a role. For any person who's been through hospital, continues to need observation and monitoring. Technology exists, and we use it now for most of our home care patients, where it's a chip that is attached, which then gives vital information to the doctor and the control room who is monitoring the patient for any such urgency or any such emergency care. So broadly, I would say this is how the things are going to change in such a way that you use technology, and as far as possible, keep your patients away from the hospital and not bring them to the hospital. And if things go like this, yes, there will be people will visit hospitals, but for more serious emergency chronic cares. But most of the time, they wouldn't have to visit for the hospitals. They can actually still stay at home and get most of the care, right? And like they say, health is in your hand. Maybe health literally will be in your hand with the phone, with the mobile phone, because everything will be on that.
Yeah. So, what, according to you, are the cost, risk, and rewards involved in building a future-ready hospital?
So, but yeah, good question, because see, there is invest technology comes with investments. There's nothing is going to come. It's not going to be free, but it's how you look at how that technology is going to change the operations and make things better for the patients. So we at Aster, we believe that, and therefore we are investing a great deal on technology. Now, having said that, there is another aspect to this. I mean, like I said, started in the beginning, when you are in a country like India, and when you have a challenge with population in rural as well as urban, it is not going to be possible that you build hospitals everywhere. So whether it is accessibility or whether it is affordability, right? These are the two aspects which will get serious, I mean, very good momentum and push because of investing in technology. So a solution like a teleconsult or a remote monitoring solution, or for that matter, remote ICU solutions or a robotic solutions, all these are currently seen as costly toys, but that's not how it is, because all of these can go a long way in providing care to that patient sitting somewhere in a village through one clinic, where you don't have the right set of clinicians and senior doctors, because they are in the cities. You have a solution which can be used to address that dire need for the country, right? To ensure you have your citizens being taken care of. So therefore, I still see that yes, if you seriously look at it, saying that there's a lot of money that's going into technology, and therefore we have to cut down and not invest that much, that will be a very bad move. I believe, yes, there is going to be investment, but that investments, the return that comes on investments, are going to be much better.
Right. So, please talk about your recent initiatives to make Aster DM Healthcare future-ready and resilient.
So most of the things that I said are all actions that we're doing. None of these that I said are or anywhere sci-fi or anything that is a story. It's a fact. All of this. So we, like I said, we started off in India by from the patient engagement piece, trying to build a single platform where people can engage with us digitally and avail services with us. At the same time, we invested and consolidated on our back end as well as systems in the front end, so that we have, like I said, within the hospital, a much more seamless and a good patient journey and patient experience. And at the same time, put systems in place to build transparency and trust. We moved on with the pandemic. It definitely gave us all the required push, just like it did for many other operators. We went live with our teleconsult solution in India, and also in GCC, where we extensively used, and we had equal number of consults, if not almost equal number of consults happening on the tele consult as we would have happened on the walk-in and the within the hospitals. So we were there when the patient needed us. Subsequently, we now have taken a very ambitious goal of going across into and creating a digital vertical itself. So we have created a digital vertical. We have a CEO for digital health. Brendan Brobry, who's joined us, is a CEO for digital health, and that shows the kind of focus we have in making a digital one of our serious and one of our biggest focus, because we believe that, like I said in the beginning, it's not far off where the patients will prefer availing the services on a digital medium as far as possible, right? If you are provided, you're present in the digital medium. So if any provider is not doing enough to be there in the digital medium, they may be in for a shock, and it could mean you could be out of the whole business. So we are focusing there. There's a lot of work happening. The digital platform being built, which is going to be unique across the globe, across the 8 countries we operate in, and this platform will bring all the services, that is the teleconsults, walk-in consults, everything onto a single platform, so that we can make it available in terms of the patient records and everything available on a single platform for our patients. In India as well, we operate across hospitals, clinics, labs, and pharmacies, which we are now rolling out. That will also give us an opportunity to have all of these services under the same platform. So if you go into a hospital and you finish a consult, your summary will be visible on the platform. Once your summary is visible, if you want to order medicines could be ordered and could be delivered by us. So that's the kind of seamless digital offering that we would like to create. And again, that we will be going live with that platform next month in Dubai, and we'll be rolling it out across India sometime end of this year. So if I were to give a kind of an estimate, it could be around November, December when we come to India with that. So like I said, all of this is all work in progress and very much on the cards.
That's fantastic. Right. So I believe these are very valid insights given from your side, and we understand that hospitals will have to take a paradigm shift in clinical and administrative management, while healthcare models will continue to evolve. And technology is already playing and will play a large role in cementing the healthcare facilities and provides access to all. So thank you so much, Vineet. Thanks again for this wonderful session. And thank you everyone for joining us. Please follow #CXOTV and stay tuned to our social media channels for more updates. Stay safe and take care.
For more updates from CXO TV, please like and subscribe to our channel.